stay busy. And I was busy for over 20 years.
This share, Jackie, is so damn authentic in what you're sharing right now. And I know this process that you're going through. And what occurs to me in terms of conversations that really work is, and we often hear about this in terms of authenticity, right? You're sharing that. Your daughter shared that. It moved a room. It's moved your TEDx coach in terms of you getting more authentic is what I'm hearing. Is that right?
Oh yeah, the TEDx coach was absolutely not going to, as he said, Jackie, you have an opportunity here to do something significant. And I went, who, me? Significant? Surely you're talking about someone else. Who, me? The journey was one of complete and utter self-denial, staying invisible to myself. There just is that moment where I had to look at what I had actually bought and sold myself on. I had bought and sold myself on a label. The label was mother of a teen suicide attempter. That was the label. That was the Band-Aid. Well, what it was covering was a deep-seated belief that said I wasn't good enough.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And now I was face-to-face with a TEDx stage. This was a collision. So I went on the journey to have the talk with my daughter. And what I learned is that people who attempt to take their own lives don't always know why. They don't always understand what's going on in the background, which is what led me into using all of my brain retraining background to solve this puzzle, to share with the world. Because this is the puzzle. Why do we do what we do? And the answer is the same for everyone, every day, always, no matter what it is that you are doing. The moment you are doing it, you have sold yourself on one idea, that it was the right thing to do at the time. That's it. When someone takes their own life, in that moment, they absolutely believe it's the right thing to do at the time. It's a best option that they can see. And when I realized that they take their own lives because in that moment, this is the best option that they can see. It's not that they want to die. It's just they don't want to live. And so the advocacy program is based on this understanding that the brain needs to have more than one option. So we're not trying to take suicide off the table for people, and we are not mental health people. My whole premise is, what is it that drives someone who is not suffering from mental illness, any kind of diagnosis, any identification that they are at risk? What would take someone who's seemingly normal, happy, sometimes bored, sometimes grumpy? You know, these are our teens. They're normal. The majority of teens are normal. They're happy. They're sometimes grumpy. They're sometimes bored. And then they try to kill themselves and everybody goes, what the hell just happened? And what happened is the natural negative bias of the brain combined with a society that does not know how to have conversations that matter anymore. We've lost the ability to converse, especially with divergent points of view. We've lost that example that we grew up with if we're of a certain age. We lost the example of multi-generational meals where people could disagree without destroying the relationship.
Right. Uh-huh.
Now we have relationships that are just so fragile that we're afraid to express an opinion. And it is the fear of what we're thinking that causes the problem. And if we could express it, I believe that we can get ahead of this wave. I believe if we could start having honest conversations about what's happening inside our heads, what we're really thinking, what we're really feeling, separating out those two things, our thinking from our feeling, being able to converse on this topic, I think will solve and cure the suicide epidemic.
So that's your solution is really getting that distinction between thinking and feeling. And how do people, I mean, this is a really important jump in terms of you've indicated the problem and now you're touching on what that solution. How do people even start to get real with that conversation? Because when you started talking today, you talked about the holistic community, which we've established here in Sarasota, and you've got your finances, you've got your impact, your resistance, and then there's the conversations, which is the underlying energy, if you will, of that holistic approach to life, right? So how do people even get started, Jackie?
There are so many different ways, but the first one is be willing. Be willing to stop being busy. That's the first step. Be willing to stop being busy. The second step is to be willing to listen to what you're really saying to yourself, to start to notice what you're thinking. The third step is to invite yourself into the conversation. What do I think about when it comes to self-sabotage and suicide? What do I think about those things? What do I think about my business and money? What do I think about my ability to impact the world? What do I think about other people's opinions? Just getting into what do I think, being willing to listen to yourself, especially on this topic of sabotage and suicide. I think suicide is ultimate self-sabotage. So that's why I link them together, because it's a spectrum. I overeat or drink too much wine. That's a form of self-sabotage. Ultimately, that could lead to my demise. Suicide is a faster path.
Okay, Kimberly has a question for you.
Yeah, I want this to be quick, but this is really important because I too, and many of our listeners have had the realization that they may have feelings of being not good enough. And through meditation, I came to a point when I was 4 years old and I realized where it started. I had the courage to express some of that to my mother. So as an adult who was very aware, as opposed to a 4-year-old, I heard her part because she has a great memory. And that part was a little stem of my healing and realizing that I too had feelings of not being good enough. How did that show up in my life? And then I took responsibility for it. So I think that maybe you and your daughter, where that stemmed from, and I'm sure you looked at your childhood and your life and how it showed up. So for our listening audience, like that stem, that root, that is the holistic inside out that you're talking about. And I love that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I love it too. So when you talk about where you started with meditation. This is the inner listening, Kimberly. That's a great example of how you can listen.
So you just put a note about becoming genuine, Jackie, and where we're going. I know we're getting short on time, so I want our listeners to get a handle on how they can take some steps forward. So please share that with us, okay?
There's free information about emotional intelligence and the work that's being done with neurogamification, so a very fast track to becoming more aware of your own emotions and thoughts. And so the website to get the free information is becominggenuine.com. The other place to start when you're ready to stop being busy is to connect with the Make It a Great Day movement. Consider what your life would be like if you were a better advocate for yourself. And if you want to know more about the advocacy program, Make It a Great Day movement. Oh, Make It a Great Day Advocates. You can find us there, Make It a Great Day Advocates.com. And you'll see the webinar that I give on how to start conversations that truly matter. So the recorded webinar is there and the information about the advocacy training. I want everyone in the world to just get to know, like, and trust themselves just a tiny bit more, because that will change everything in your world.
That will change our conversation, and that will change this willingness to blame the world instead of taking responsibility, right? So, Jackie, how can they get a hold of you, please?
The best way to get a hold of me is through the Make It a Great Day advocates.com site.
Okay.
My contact information is there. The truth of the matter is, we're not hard to find. If you're looking for us, we are the Make It a Great Day movement. We're on Facebook. We are everywhere.
And it is time to make it a great day. So I love that, Jackie.
Make it a great day. The choice is yours. That's the name of the book. Volume 1 is up now. Volume 2 is coming this fall.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining. Really, really great information. Thanks for tuning into our show on societybitesradio.com. Don't worry, if you've missed a show, you can find them all on our website at SarasotaHolisticChamberofCommerce.com.